Today we continue with our class Shabbos Home, and this session and all of them should be dedicated to Rifah Shlema of our dear Rabbi Yaron Ruven. His name is Yaron Ben Doris, and also to Rifah Shlema Yehudis Bas Noach, Ariela Ora Bas Anna, Yemim Rasi Rachel Bas Brindel, David Shloma Ben Sandra, and little boy David Abraham Ben Chana. Also to quick release, Moshe Shmuel Ben Pnina. I spoke to him today. He's holding there. Learn Imanai Bitachon. Whatever we say now clips. So of course he cannot watch the clips. So we learn with him live. Baruch HaShem. All right. So continue with our class Shabbos Home. And last time we covered all the 39 Melachos. Right, 39 Melachos, we released them. We give a little summary about each of them, and now we start with the next chapter. It's chapter 15. So even though it's a new volume, volume 2, so it's continue from the first. So now it's chapter 15, and now topic is Zoreya. Zoreya is sowing. Okay. So sowing meaning not sowing like with a threaded needle, but sowing meaning planting, putting seeds in the ground. Sowing. Okay. So section 1, the Av Melachah. So Av meaning, as we said, Av meaning father, meaning like main Melachah, and then there is like you have a big tree, you have main branches. Like 39 main branches. From them, also like secondary branches, they call it taladas. Okay, so now we're talking about Av Melachah, the main point. Okay, so the Zoreya sowing is one of 39 Avas Melachas that are prohibited on Shabbos. Sowing was required in the Mishkan. Herbs were planted in order to provide the raw material for the production of dyes used to color the tapestries, right? So let's quickly review. So it was done in the Mishkan. So some explain it in connection to bread, right? To production of the bread, but here he follows the different line of reasoning, like producing dye. But as we understand, it's exactly the same melachas, like different explanation of the same. So meaning they had to plant seeds in the ground in order to grow these herbs, and in order to from these herbs to grind them, to cook them, right? To make a dye. That's how we make a dye. Okay, and to color tapestries. Okay, no problem. Okay, so continue. Number 2, section number 2, definition. Melachah Zoreya, sowing, is defined as any activity that causes improve and growth of any plant. So now, if you understand what he said there, it's like it's the whole universe. The whole universe. So meaning again, Melachah Zoreya, sowing, is defined as activity that causes improvement and growth of any plant. So meaning everything. Like we're going to see any improvement, like watering it would be one of the improvements, and making a hole, like put something in the ground. So everything, absolutely everything that promotes growth. Okay. So I think it's going to be a very long chapter based on this definition. So number three, amount requires for prohibition. That transgression of Melachah Zoreya, sowing, by planting or improving the growth of even the smallest seed or plant. Okay, so that's it. So again, as with everything else, we have a minimum requirement to do transgression. So transgression, for example, in eating, we know it's kizayis. Like kizayis is like a little less than ounce. The kizayis. So meaning if person ate kizayis of forbidden food, so then a person is going to get punished. So if not, it's still a person violated the prohibition, but person is not going to get punished. That's the only difference. But anyway, this was forbidden. right? Or for example, when we're in the last volume where we're talking about what caring, right? So you're not allowed to care on Shabbos. So we said caring. What does it mean caring? Well, like how much caring you need to do to be complete Melachah. So we said that pick up in one domain and bring it down in another domain, from private to public, from public to private, from Carmelist to private, Carmelist to public, all of this definition. Or we said even 4 amos. 4 amos is like 7.5 feet, right? In a public domain or in Carmelist domain. Okay, so meaning there is always like minimum requirement to transgress the violation. So here is any, right? Any, there is no limit. So meaning if you put a seed, for example, if a seed was put in the ground, like before Shabbos, let's say, and you put 1 drop of water, so meaning you violated this prohibition. Hopefully none of us should violate. Okay, so meaning right here we go, like to put flowers into the vase, right? So somebody brought you flowers for Shabbos. You have a guest, right? And they are very nice. They bought flowers, and they bought it before Shabbos. They know you're a very religious person. You would not accept something that bought on Shabbos. They bought before, and they brought to you, and you. I cannot put it in the vase, and you put it on a side table or something, and they watching. They say, do want it to fill the vase with water? Should we put? They say, no, let it be. Okay, right? Because of this Melachah. Section number 4, and it says, at what point does the Melachah of sowing take place? So now we're going to to the core of it. On the biblical realm, there is dispute among the authorities when the Melachah of Zareya, sowing, is transgressed. Some authorities rule that the transgression of Melachah of Zareya, sowing, is as soon as he placed the seed on or in the ground, in a place where it cannot germinate. Even if the seed is subsequently removed or blown away by the wind before the actual germinate, the prohibition had been transgressed. The other authorities rule that one does not transgress the Melachah unless the seed actually begins to germinate. 1 second. This occurs on the 3rd day after it has been placed in the ground. Although it is no longer Shabbos at that time, the transgression takes effect retroactively to the time he placed the seed in the ground on Shabbos. If, however, the seed is removed or blown away before it germinates, the Melachah is not transgressed. Okay, so let's finish reading, and then we're going to go back. As you see, there is a many explanation that must be done. Okay, since the dispute is pertaining to Torah prohibition, we rule stringently. Therefore, one must assume the placing the seed in or in the ground on Shabbos, in a place where it cannot germinate, transgresses the Torah prohibition. However, since some authorities rule that it is prohibited, the prohibition is not transgressed until until the seed begins to germinate, one should remove the seed immediately after Shabbos, and thereby prevent the transgression according to these authorities. So, meaning what? Just simply of course, I mean, for a person who never learned this material, it sounds a little gibberish, but we're going to explain. So, simple example. You eat apple, or better example, you eat watermelon, right? You live in your private house, and you have a backyard, right? You decided to have your Shabbos lunch on the backyard, and it's not paved, right? You have the grass there. So meaning, if you ate watermelon and you were not careful, or kids like to play with the seeds, watermelon seeds, right, and fell in the ground, so you violated, according to this, you already in potential violation of this halacha. Because technically, the seed can, like we said, put it in the ground or even on top of the ground. right? Even on a surface. So since potentially this seed can go into the ground somehow, and germinate there, so a person will let this melacha. So just example what we're talking about. But of course, I mean, there are more details of this, so let's try to understand. And we have, so let's do from the beginning. I'm going to explain. So part number 4, right? At what time, at what point does the Melachah is sowing it take place? Okay, so meaning, right, even like as we said about any Melachah, there is like point at what transgression is occurred on a biblical level, on a rabbinical level. So for example, when just one example, when we are talking about cooking on Shabbos, so we say, well, what is cooking? We said that the definition of cooking using any heat, source of heat, whatever is it, right? And when the heat, when this like vessel can, or the food can potentially reach the temperature of Yatzel Adasbo, when the hand recoils. So that's when cooking process starts. Okay, so it's very interesting. So now we write. So meaning that there is always definition when the process starts. Okay. And here we have a dispute. Okay, there is a dispute among the authorities when the Melachah of sowing transgressed. Some authorities rule that one transgress Melachah of sowing as soon as place seed on or in the ground. So meaning even as we said, I'm going to stick to this example, watermelon seed. Right, the kid, or forget about kids. Kids are not. They're not responsible. Of course, we have to teach them and stuff like that. But let's say adult, right? He or she plays with watermelon seeds, and guess what? It fell on the ground, and they did not find. They tried to look, and guess what? They have grass, and you did not find. So a person will lay this melacha, right? According to this opinion, on top, right? Not even inside of the ground, even on top of the ground. Right, in a place where it can germinate. So for sure, I mean, if it fell, if you have payment, you have tiles on your backyard, or you have like cement or something, like finished one. So of course, it's not good to germinate there, for sure not, right? But if you have grass or ground, or like soil, for sure it can germinate, for sure, right? So. Just one second. As soon as the place is in the ground, place where it can germinate. So here we're talking about potential. So if in potential it can germinate, so that's it. Right, that's a problem. Okay. Even if the seed is subsequently removed or blown away by the wind before it actually germinates, the prohibition has been transgressed. So meaning, as we said about cooking on Shabbos, right? Since if a person puts even for 1 second in a place where potentially, if he would leave it for a long time, it's going to be warm to this temperature above Yatzel Adasbo, he or she already transgress the prohibition. Same is here. So if it's potentially can germinate, so person already violated this prohibition. So even it was subsequently removed, you found after Shabbos, your pet ate it, or like some other animal ate it, or it was blown away. Okay. So before it's actually germinated, the prohibition has been transgressed. Okay, so of course we understand it's right. It's one opinion. The other authorities rule that one does not transgress the Melachah unless the seed is actually germinated. So meaning that this is more lenient opinion. So first opinion says if there is a potential, person violates. Second opinion said no, if it's actually brought to some results. Okay, and brought some results not on Shabbos. Of course, we said that it takes 3 days to germinate, right? And right, germinate is enough. It's a first process, the first stage of the process. And as we learned yesterday, we started about new grain, right? In our laws of Sphera. So we said if it took root before Pesach or after the Pesach. So meaning just because you put seeds like 2 days before the Pesach doesn't mean that they start taking root. So and this halacha is based on taking root. So meaning you have some more time before Pesach to plant the things. Okay. Continue. Okay, so again, as authorities, so more lenient rule that one does not transgress the Melachah unless the seeds actually begin to germinate. This occurs on the third day after it has been placed in the ground. Of course, there is people say, yeah, it's not always okay. We got it. It's not always on the third day, but it mostly, of course, there is exceptions. It was a rain. It was not a rain. It was over dried. We understand it. So don't be too smart with us. We know that, but in under regular circumstances, after the third day. Okay. Continue. Of course, the rain would make it faster. Although it is no longer Shabbos at that time, right? Meaning if a seed fell into ground, right, and it's no longer Shabbos, like on the third day, right? It's what is it? Tuesday. On the Shabbos at that time, the transgression takes effect retroactively. To the time he placed the seed in the ground on Shabbos. So meaning this placing of the seed was beginning of the action. Yes, the end of the or continuation of the action was on Tuesday, let's say Tuesday, but beginning of the action was on Shabbos. So retroactively, person actually violated this prohibition. If, however, the seed is removed or blown away, so again we're talking about this more lenient opinion, but we can get it from the logic. So if it was removed or blown away, for sure it did not take root. Okay, logically, right before it germinates, the Melachah is not transgressed. Okay, but as always we say. He gives us two opinions. He has an extensive discussion, like on pages and pages discussion on the bottom of different opinions. What the great rabbis from our history, from the time of Talmud until now, what they say. Of course, the biggest of the biggest. But we need to know what to do. So since it is a biblical violation, we always try to go like stringently. Right, we don't want to violate Shabbos because a person would come and say, "Yeah, I was counting on that such opinion, like lenient opinion." Yeah, you were counting on that such a lenient opinion, but HaShem is going to tell us, right? Hopefully not us, these people, but there was a stringent opinion. This stringent opinion that said that you might be violating this. Torah prohibitions. So this lenient opinion we can rely in case of the need. For example, if you remember that you ate your watermelon and a few watermelon seeds fell on the ground, and now you were visiting your aunt from another state, and now you go to airport and you think, should I come back? I still have time to come back and maybe I can find on her on your backyard to remove the seeds or not. So in this case, yes, you can follow this, rely on the lenient opinion, and that's it. But otherwise, we try to always follow the stringent opinion. Right? And in case of the need, we can rely on lenient, of course. So we don't discount lenient, but if there is no great need, so we don't follow it. Okay. Again, because of somebody who violated the Torah prohibition has no portion in the world to come. Okay, and the punishment is chorus, meaning the soul is being cut from this world. Right? If when we had the Sanhedrin, yes, the Sanhedrin would execute person, or for some transgression give a person Malchus, meaning lashes. But today HaShem does all of the punishments, and He is very precise. Okay. So again. Therefore, one must assume that the placing of the seed in or on the ground on Shabbos in place where it germinates, transgresses Torah prohibition. So again, it was not your intention. Nobody says it was, right? But when it fell on the ground, your like the seed from your watermelon, right, on the ground, in the grass, in the soil. So right, so a person violated Torah prohibition. Of course, I mean the person is not going to get death penalty for that, because you need two witnesses who warn you and stuff like that. But that's we should get the point. Right? Still not person put themselves in not a good relationship with HaShem. Okay, continue. However, since some authorities rule that the prohibition is not transgressed until the seed begins to germinate, one should remove the seed immediately after Shabbos. So on Shabbos, what is the problem? So in a sense, if it's not edible, the example we are using, watermelon seeds. I think they sell. So somebody asked me a question some time ago. See, I did not know. Person buy stuff from a health food store, and they asked me if they are allowed to buy the watermelon seeds from this health food store without HaShem. It's very interesting. So the way I understand, they do sell the seeds, so meaning they're edible. So for us, we always throw them away because they're useless. But for some people, it is food. So what I'm trying to say, if it is not edible, so it is a muktzah. If it is edible, but you decided because you for whatever reason you don't want to eat, right? It's still it does not become muktzah. For example, somebody eats apple and some eat apple all to the core. There is nothing left. There's no pieces of apple left. But some people they eat, but there is still still a lot left. So meaning it depends who ate. Right, if one person ate, most likely there is still some bits and pieces still not considered to be muktzah 100% still. Right, there is edible parts, but right. But if there is no edible parts, for example, this watermelon seeds, and let's say I don't know this kind that nobody eats. Let's make this example. It's going to be muktzah, so you're not allowed to move muktzah on Shabbos unless you do it in a not direct way. Okay, and you need. I mean, I don't want to overcomplicate things. Okay, but if it's something edible, for example, you ate what did you eat? Sunflower seeds, right? Some people eat sunflower seeds. I don't think it's healthy, but people still do, right? And this sunflower seed fell on the ground. For sure, you can pick up, right? Because it's food. Okay. So, but in all other cases, he said make sure that you remove it after Shabbos. Okay. Okay. So and thereby, so if you remove it after Shabbos, so meaning according to this lenient opinion, that the person is going to violate the prohibition only if its seed germinates. For sure, after Shabbos, nothing happened, so you're good. Okay. All right. So now, as I said, this should be very extensive because it's going to cover all kind of cases. So let's just, I think, introduce the topic. We're not going to go like in details, but at least introduce the topic and leave it for next time. So it's part number 5, included in the Melachah, right? Included in Melachah. The following types of activity included in Melachah: initiating growth. So meaning whatever person does, it's not even like when we say sowing. So we understand like literally straightforward sowing. You make a hole, right, in the ground. You put seed and you cover it. That's sowing. That's everybody understand. Or planting. How do you plant? You make again a hole in the ground. You put some plant, right, and then you cover, right. So the only difference, what is the difference? For example, you plant um, rose bush, right? You buy from internet, you buy your store. So you make a hole and you put there, and you cover it with the ground. So you plant something already ready to be planted, but with the seed it's a little different. It's a little different, but the same exactly idea, right? So again, initial growth, initiating growth. So how are you initiating growth? You water it for sure, right? Or right. And the next one, promoting growth. Okay, no, sorry. Promoting the growth, initiating growth, meaning to put it in the ground. Sorry. And what I was describing, it's promoting the growth, watering plants. So as we understand, all these things would be forbidden, right? And protecting the growth. So protecting the growth, meaning from ruining, right? For example, you see that you planted tomatoes, right? And you see there is something there is I don't know, was it the branch, right? For like a broke of the tree, and now it's on your flowers or on your cucumbers or something, right? So and you want to remove this branch, right? So it would be forbidden, even if you're trying to remove with your foot, because it is a muktzah, so it would be forbidden, right? Because you're protecting the growth, or for example, you move it from shade to from sun to shade. So today is going to be very hot, and you want to protect your flowers, your tomatoes, whatever you're growing, your peppers. You want to move to the shade, would be forbidden according to this third category. So I think we can stop here. We understand with some time. Let's stop here. Let's do 5 minutes break, and we continue with other topics. And today is story night. Story today. 5 minutes.